In 2022, a study by Dr. Ramani Durvasula, a leading expert on narcissistic personality disorder, revealed a chilling truth: highly empathetic individuals are precisely the targets narcissists seek out. If you've ever felt drained, confused, or utterly depleted after an interaction, chances are you've been on the receiving end of a narcissistic attack. But what if you could not only survive these assaults but turn your inherent sensitivity into an impenetrable shield? What if you could become impervious to their toxic game? You, the empath, possess a profound ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's a gift, a superpower even, that allows you to connect on a deeper level than most. But in the wrong hands, specifically the hands of a narcissist, it becomes your greatest vulnerability. Narcissists thrive on your emotional energy, your compassion, your desire to help. They see your empathy not as a bridge for connection, but as a weakness to exploit. They bait you, gaslight you, diminish you, all to feed their insatiable need for supply and control. For too long, empaths have suffered in silence, internalizing the chaos and confusion. But this doesn't have to be your fate. Today, we're unveiling 7 psychological tactics, battle-tested strategies, that will transform your natural empathy into an impenetrable shield, deflecting every narcissistic attack that comes your way. The key to deflecting narcissistic attacks isn't to out-narcissist them, but to understand their playbook and then systematically disengage from their game. It's about preserving your energy, your sanity, and your very sense of self. Tactic 1. The Grey Rock Method. This is perhaps the most effective, yet counterintuitive, defense. Imagine yourself as a dull, grey rock. Uninteresting. Unremarkable. When a narcissist tries to engage you, you become utterly boring. They thrive on drama, emotional reactions, and conflict. By offering none of that, you starve them of the narcissistic supply they crave. You respond with minimal information, monotone voice, and neutral expressions. For example, if they try to provoke you with a cutting remark, you might simply say, "Okay," or "Noted," and change the subject or walk away. You don't explain, defend, or react. You offer no emotional foothold. Dr. Eleanor Greenberg, a psychotherapist specializing in narcissistic relationships, often advises this technique, noting that the narcissist will eventually move on to someone who provides more entertainment. It sounds simple, but it requires immense self-control. The secret to making a narcissist lose interest? Become as boring as a grey rock. It sounds simple, but this tactic, studied in interpersonal communication and often recommended by experts like Dr. Ramani Durvasula, starves them of the emotional drama they crave. The less reaction you give, no anger, no tears, no explanations, the less supply they get, and the faster they'll move on. Imagine them trying to ignite a fire with wet logs; they'll quickly give up. But there's a specific, almost robotic way to do it without escalating conflict or appearing rude, and it's your ultimate defense. Tactic 2. Emotional detachment, the art of not caring. This isn't about becoming cold or heartless, it's about protecting your inner world. Empaths naturally absorb emotions, and narcissists are masters at projecting their chaos onto you. Emotional detachment means recognizing that their anger, their blame, their insecurity, isn't yours to carry. When they launch an attack, mentally step back. Observe their behavior as if you were watching a movie. Acknowledge the emotion, but don't let it penetrate your emotional core. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, principles suggest that by reframing your perception of their behavior, seeing it as a manifestation of their own pathology rather than a personal attack, you can lessen its impact. Practice visualization. Imagine a clear shield between you and them, deflecting their verbal darts. This helps you process their words without internalizing them. Tactic 3. Enforce ironclad boundaries. Narcissists constantly test boundaries, pushing and prodding to see what they can get away with. For an empath, who often struggles with saying no, this is a critical battleground. Establishing clear, firm boundaries is your declaration of self-worth. This means clearly stating what you will and will not tolerate, and then consistently enforcing those limits, even when met with resistance, anger, or guilt-tripping. For instance, if they constantly interrupt you, you might say, "I need to finish my thought before you speak." If you interrupt again, I will end this conversation. And then, crucially, you follow through. Psychologists like Dr. Henry Cloud emphasize that healthy boundaries are essential for personal well-being, and for empaths, they are a non-negotiable for survival in a narcissistic dynamic. The one word a narcissist fears most: no. Setting clear, firm boundaries is your declaration of self-worth, your personal constitution. It's not about being aggressive, it's about defining your emotional and physical space. Research by psychotherapist Dr. Eleanor Greenberg and others highlights how crucial these lines are for mental health. They'll test you, they'll guilt-trip you, they'll rage, but your unwavering no is a powerful defense. But how do you enforce them without triggering an even worse attack, and more importantly, how do you stick to them when your empathy wants to give in? It's a subtle art, and we're breaking it down. Tactic 4, the information diet: starve them of data. Narcissists are information gatherers. They collect details about your past, your fears, your hopes, your vulnerabilities, all to use against you later. To deflect their attacks, you must go on an information diet. Limit what you share about your personal life, your feelings, your plans, and your reactions. Keep conversation superficial and factual. If they ask probing questions, respond vaguely or deflect back to them. Why do you ask? "Oh, that's not something I'm discussing right now." Remember, every piece of personal information you offer is a potential weapon in their arsenal. Think of your personal life as classified information. The less they know, the less leverage they have. This tactic is especially potent in the early stages of a relationship, but can be implemented at any point to regain control. Implementing these tactics isn't about becoming manipulative yourself, it's about strategic self-preservation. It's about understanding the game and choosing not to play by their rules, thereby reclaiming your power. Tactic 5, strategic communication: the echo chamber effect. When a narcissist tries to engage you in an argument, they're often trying to elicit a specific reaction. Strategic communication means mirroring their non-committal language or simply stating observations without judgment. If they say, "You always overreact," instead of defending yourself, you might respond, "You feel that I overreact." You're not agreeing, you're not disagreeing, you're simply reflecting their statement back, which often deflates their attempt to provoke. Another approach is called fogging, where you agree with a general truth in their statement but deny the specific accusation. It's true I can be sensitive sometimes, without agreeing that you always overreact. This technique, rooted in assertive communication principles, allows you to acknowledge their words without validating their manipulative intent. Gaslighting isn't just a buzzword, it's a calculated psychological attack designed to make you doubt your own sanity. They twist facts, deny events, and project their flaws onto you, often leaving you questioning your memory, your perception, and even your worth. The counter tactic? A meticulous, almost forensic, internal fact-checking process. Don't let their narrative become yours. Keep a mental or even physical log of events. Consult trusted friends or journals. This isn't paranoia, it's reclaiming your cognitive autonomy. Learn how to identify the subtle signs of gaslighting and arm yourself with the ultimate antidote. Tactic 6, fact-checking reality: your internal truth detector. Narcissists are masters of gaslighting, a form of manipulation where they make you question your own memory, perception, and sanity. They'll deny things they said, twist events, and project their faults onto you. To counter this, you must become your own internal truth detector. Don't rely on their version of events. Keep notes if necessary, talk to trusted friends, or simply remind yourself of what you know to be true. When they say, "I never said that," and you know they did, internally affirm, "Yes, you did, and I remember." This isn't about confronting them, which is often futile, but about preventing their lies from eroding your self-trust. Psychologists like Dr. Judith Orloff, who writes extensively on empaths, emphasize the importance of grounding yourself in your own reality. Tactic 7, empathetic self-care: recharge your shield. This isn't a tactic for interacting with a narcissist, but a crucial component of your long-term defense. Being an empath in a narcissistic dynamic is incredibly draining. Your shield needs constant recharging. This means prioritizing self-care activities that replenish your emotional, mental, and spiritual energy. Solitude, spending time in nature, meditation, creative pursuits, engaging with genuinely supportive individuals, these are not luxuries, but necessities. Setting aside dedicated time each day to detox from external energies is paramount. Without consistent self-care, your empathy becomes a liability, and your shield will inevitably weaken. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup, especially when dealing with someone who constantly tries to drain it. Your powerful empathy is precisely what attracts a narcissist, turning your greatest gift into a potential weakness. They crave your compassion, your willingness to understand, and your emotional responsiveness. But there's a way to harness your empathy, not as a vulnerability, but as an internal compass and a source of strength. It involves strategic self-care, learning to discern whose emotions are yours, and understanding that empathy doesn't mean enduring abuse. Discover the critical difference between feeling for someone and allowing them to control how you feel. It's the ultimate act of self-preservation. These tactics, when practiced consistently, don't just deflect attacks, they fundamentally alter the dynamic, taking away the narcissist's power. They empower you to stand firm, protect your peace, and reclaim your inherent strength as an empath. Mastering these 7 psychological tactics will transform your interactions and fortify your inner world. But understanding why certain people become targets is only half the battle. What if you could instantly recognize the subtle tells of a manipulator before they even speak a word? And if you think these strategies are powerful, wait until you discover the 3 specific phrases that can make anyone reveal their true intentions instantly. That's coming in our next deep dive into the human psyche.